Yeah, the hat is on. I'm looking a bit ridiculous. The quarantine SB is back. Actually, it doesn't look that bad on camera. But anyway, let's keep it as it is. So yes, welcome to episode 19 of the Feel for Football podcast. I'm your host Sanchez Bailey, and we're back. International football has ended. To be honest, I don't like international football, but I didn't want to post it or actually tell anybody because I didn't want to disrespect people that were playing international football. With that being said, shout out to Marcus Harness, who got his call up for the Island squad. He featured on the Feel for Football podcast as well. I definitely want to have him back on. I've told him that. So, he's been in great form and the call up is a testament to that. So, my brother, Marcus, I'm going to tag you in this. We need you back on, my guy. But yes, it's been good to have football back. And with this topic today, I actually wanted the return of football to inspire me to have a topic of discussion. And it has. There was a post that I actually put up a few weeks ago, and I done a little poll on Instagram, and it also inspired this topic. And then there was some incidents yesterday, so I'm talking on Sunday. There were some incidents yesterday that made me want to speak on this today. And it's to do with pressure, right? And handling pressure and expectations. And I want to look at two contrasting mindsets. So there's no guest today, unfortunately. It was difficult to get a guest, but as I said, I've always don't want to just be guest driven. So when there's no guest, then I'm hoping that we still can have a good, informative, I was going to say chat, but podcast, irrespective of a guest. But anyway, I want to look at two contrasting mindsets that I really feel one is very empowering. One is not the worst mindset to have, but in terms of the effect that it can have on you, it can be quite damaging, especially depending on like your mental makeup, so to speak, how mentally strong you are, and considering everything's a team sport, there's going to be people with varying different levels of mental strength. Let's start off with the Bruno Fernandes comments that he made on the Manchester United podcast, and we'll talk about that, break that down, and really look at the implications and the effects that it can have on you. So I put that up on social media, and I've got I screenshotted it the other day just so I could make sure I could read out some of his comments verbatim. So Bruno Fernandes obviously is a new Manchester United signing. For someone who signs to Manchester United, you consider the pedigree. They're the most successful club in English football. You consider the fact that you're a player of ability. You look at the players that are there, and you kind of dream about where the club can go. Man United has had, a bit of a new leaf in a positive term since Ollie's takeover. Yes, they've been heavily inconsistent though. That's one thing to consider. But they made Europe. They made the Champions League. They're going in the right directions. Maybe not at the pace that they would desire and hope for, but United are making positive strides to where they want to be. So he went on the podcast now. I actually haven't heard him say this, but this is direct quotations. He said, "For a club like Manchester United, it's a long time since we won the Premier League. It's too long." So you have to have that in your mind. All the players, all the staff. We are here to win, and I think we have that mentality. Yeah. So I'm gonna read out some of the positive things that he said in that. So he said, "We are here to win." Right? I'm not gonna lie, that's like the only positive thing that I've seen there. So yeah, we are here to win. That's a great thing to say. That's a great way to think. And he does say, and I think we have that mentality. So obviously him saying I think rather, highlights the fact that it's a team sport, and there's some people that might not think that, and there's some people that do. Another good thing actually he said was all the players, all the staff. Just those quotes alone are decent because that shows a form of unison. But what he's talking about is not necessarily the best thing, because some of the more inadvertently damaging things. So the reason why I say inadvertently is because, it's not very damaging in terms of what he is saying, but the sentiment and the semantics, the meaning behind it puts a bit of pressure on individuals. So what he said was, for a club like Manchester United, so now you're considering historic reputations, right? and then casting that onto the present situation. It's a long time since we won the Premier League. It's too long. So the fact that that is a thing to even say is kind of obvious. For you to have to say that and declare that and show that this is in your mind is showing there's an element of pressure on the players, which is not a bad thing, but it's the meaning and the, as I said, the semantics that go behind it. He says it's too long, I think. So you have to have in your mind. So you have to have that in your mind. So my message to Bruno Fernandes is you don't have to have that in your mind. And I'm going to sound quite controversial, and it's going to sound like I'm encouraging the lack of ambition. No, you definitely consider the fact that Man United hasn't won a trophy for a little while, but to have that in your mind during the course of a season is going to cause a lot of pressure, because every foot wrong that goes wrong at Manchester United, which is going to happen for every team. You look at Manchester City right now, their form's not the greatest. You look at other teams, even Liverpool, things are not going well. They've got so many injuries and stuff like that. When scenarios and challenging scenarios are going to come and arrive, you're going to compare yourself to this enormous target and an expectation that you set yourself, which can be quite draining for you. And so my message to Bruno Fernandes is it's important, or even to you guys, forget Bruno Fernandes right now, it's more about you guys taking in this information. So considering the fact that things will go wrong during a 9-month season, and the table changes so frequently, there's going to be results that go your way and don't go your way. To always have that expectation of winning the league, as I said, can be quite draining and can be quite damaging to players when they know that they should be living up to an expectation that I guess their reputation has, the club's reputation has created. But then also it's a expectation of the fans. So one of the things that it's important to realize is that the expectations of others are always going to be quite irrational, right? As fans, you always want the complete best for your club, and sometimes you kind of ignore the journey and the things that need to take place for you to achieve greatness. And so there has to come a realization as players that expectations from outside environments, from outside sources, are not expectations that you should take on yourself. A lot of it is irrational, a lot of it's maybe unrealistic, or maybe inconsiderate of the journey and the process that it takes. And so it's your responsibility as a footballer to consider the process and the journey and the steps that it takes to get to that desired goal, and make those your expectations in the season. So think about some of the cliches that are made in football. They say the team that usually wins the Premier League has one of the best defences, keeps out goals, and then you score goals, right? Those things there are easier targets that you can work to achieving in terms of building defensive solidarity and creating a bit more goal scoring opportunities and having a prolific and clinical product at the end of the pitch. And so it's those elements that you really need to focus on, which can work towards you building towards that actual ambition that you do have. And so I'm not saying that it's not going to go very well for Manchester United. It all could go very well for them. However, if it does go well for them, it would have to have been a shift in the mindset that allowed them to play with a bit more freedom and to actually limit the expectations that they have on themselves. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said something yesterday actually, which reinforced that there's an air of pressure on the players. And he said this after they beat West Brom at home. I believe this was their first home win of the season. He said, "We needed that win at home. There's been a lot said and written about it. Maybe it's got to the boys' head." Now, obviously, a home form is very important. Any team in any football, at any stage in football or any level, they're expected to be more to get most of their positive results at home, right? And obviously, the more you can do away brings you up higher in the table. So United to actually not have the greatest results at home and to have a lot of scrutiny about it is completely normal. So that is up for the players that have that mental strength about them to bounce back. However, with the information that we're getting from Bruno Fernandes, and then the information we're getting from the coach now, remember Bruno Fernandes said all the players, all the staff think the same way. So for the manager to say it and comment on the boys' mental challenges, so to speak, Bruno Fernandes mentioning, whether he meant it or not, that there is a mental challenge at United of pressure. These are very negative ingredients that footballers should be indulging in during the season. What do I mean by that? It has to be progressive. It has to be the finer details that become your expectations. So what can we learn from this statement from Bruno Fernandes on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Expectations from external sources are poison. You have to almost be able to shift and to filter the information that you're getting from outside sources. For instance, if you see a drunk man on the street, he might be shouting abuse at you, or maybe shouting at something. Like happened to me the other day, some guy was just getting out some nonsense. I just walked past, but if you see a drunk person on the street, and I'm not saying you need to consider outside sources such as drunk people, but you're able to filter the information that you take from different types of people. So because you don't consider maybe a drunk person's statements as relevant to you. So you have to now work to train in your mind to filter in external expectations, and knowing that sometimes it might be irrational, sometimes it might be unrealistic, sometimes it might not just be the most achievable expectation. A lot of the expectations of fans are down to what they want for their club rather than what is realistic for the club. And Man United right now, I'm not saying that they have no chance of winning the Premier League. I think they definitely have an opportunity to. However, if they're going to live by the external expectations, it's going to take a lot longer. I definitely believe, considering individual players, the pedigree of strikers that they have, they focused on the elements such as improving their defensive solidarity, improving their striking output. They can reach for greatness, and that could easily be shown by a manager, no disrespect to Oli, coming in there with a philosophy and changing those things. It definitely can happen. We've seen it with teams of lesser quality. So that's my challenge with the whole Bruno Fernandes situation, where I want you guys to take from that information, as ambitious as it sounds, that's not the mentality that you should be having middle of the season. At the beginning of the season, pre-season, he can say something like that, because you should have expectations and goals and elements such as that. And even if, there's an episode that I'm going to do one of these days on a mid-season, on even a quarter season audit, right, where you're reflecting on how your journey is going so far. Even if he was doing something such as that, it's not for public use. It's not for public information, because that's going to be used as added expectations, which you're already indulging in. So I'm hoping that you can take from this Bruno Fernandes, conversation that in the middle of the season or during the season, your focus should definitely not be on the end goal. It should definitely be a lot more on, the progressive steps that will lead to you even winning the game. So for instance, what he could have said instead was, this is a big club, Manchester United, they have a lot of history. However, it's a building process. We know we need to be improving our home record. And what we're going to be doing is fixing the things so that we become a lot more solid at home. Because we know that those that win at home and those that do this, that and that are associated with this, So there was no mention of what the present strategies are going to be. And so that's something I definitely want to challenge you guys, or even encourage you guys to when you're talking about your ambitions, to be more present day focused, to be more, to be more short term with, your ambitions and targets during the season. And when you're talking to other people and you're letting people know how you're getting on, and, sometimes it's easy to go and think towards the long term goal, but can you become a lot more short term and progressive with your thinking? Gosh, that was a lot. So the other side now is coming from Jose Mourinho, and so I didn't write down what he said, but Tottenham are at the moment top of the league. I don't think there's too much into that. Doesn't mean that they are title challengers. They are in a good space right now, and they could very well be title challengers. Who knows? However, what we can definitely say though is what the manager is echoing and what the table is echoing. It's not. It shouldn't be coincidental. So they won yesterday. They beat Manchester City, which I think many people are quite surprised about that. But they said that City or Tottenham have lost 2 in the last 20 against Manchester City, and just from me knowing and watching so many of those fixtures, Tottenham is a bogey team for Man City. So anyway, who cares? So Jose Mourinho came out at the end of the game. I think one of the interviewers obviously wanted to try and get a quotable statement from him, and they said to him, "Oh, so you're top of the table, first time in 6 years. How does it feel?" And Jose Mourinho was like, "It feels good," showing his human nature, showing that he was happy about that. He said, "It feels good." And the next thing he said was "but." So it's shifting the focus from being top of the table literally towards, he said, "But do you know what? Tomorrow we might not be top." But what it does mean is that, oh gosh, I actually forgot what he said. I should have wrote it down. But I'm paraphrasing here, so don't completely judge me. But he said, it feels good to be top, but tomorrow we might not be top as it changes. But he was saying that we are doing the right things that could, I think I need to watch it. Let me have a quick break. And I'm going to watch what he said and I'll tell you. 1 second. Alright, I'm back. So I watched Jose Mourinho's post-match interview and I've written it down, and it's essentially verbatim exactly what he said. So he said, in response to the Manchester City win yesterday and the top of the table, he said, "It feels good, but maybe tomorrow we are second again. I'm just happy with the evolution. This is the process. This isn't like other clubs who may need 2 or 3 or even 4 seasons, 10 markets. You can't expect after 1 or 2 seasons we are fighting for the title. We are not fighting for the title. We are fighting to win every match." Now, let's just consider that statement at the end where he says we are fighting to win every match. If you win every match, you win the league, right? And he said that it's a process. So the difference between Bruno Fernandes is that he's highlighting the fact that Man United need to win the title and it's been so long. Mourinho, on the flip side, has said we're fighting to win every match. It's a process. So what Mourinho is installing into these players at Tottenham is that it's the step-by-step journeys and the things that you need to do on a weekly basis that makes you become champions. Their goal is to become champions. Mourinho is only there for them to win a title. Whether Tottenham's going to do it, well, Tottenham are doing the right things right now to ensure that they're going towards winning the title, because they're focusing on the small elements and the bite-sized requirements for you to become title-winning challengers, which is to win a game. United now, or what Bruno Fernandes has said at least, hasn't been anything indicated as to what they're going to be doing now to win the title. They haven't won, like, almost, no disrespect, but how dare you mention title winning ambitions when you can't win a home game at that present time? It's more about figure out the home form first, figure out the defence, for instance, figure out the goal scoring. And I'm not attacking United, I'm just commenting on some of the areas that they should be focusing on and which are of title winning ambitions. And so that's the highlight or the key differences between what Mourinho said in terms of his mentality that is installed at Tottenham in comparison to the mindset at Manchester United. And you're hearing it echo from the manager and you're hearing it echo from the players, and boy would I love to influence the mindset and change the mindset at Manchester United, because I think that'd be a great project, and I'm sure that they can flourish if the mindset shifts. And so what can we learn from Mourinho's? And it's essentially the things that we can learn from Bruno Fernandes' statement is it's the step-by-step process and the journeys to get to that goal. And if you've been following me on social media, if you've been following the podcast, I'm always about the small steps. I'm always about the progressive journey. If you look at this mindset planner that I've got here, It's about the step-by-step journeys to create a habit in 30 days. You know, nothing happens by accidents. I think Marcus Harness said that in a conversation we might have had, or something I might have said to him. But success has no accidents. There's no accidents of you becoming successful, because there's things, and it's like almost scientific. So when we're talking about our goals and ambitions, it's very important for you to be aware of the things that are required for you to get there, and for you to mention them and to highlight them and to focus on them and work on them. That's something that we can take from Mourinho's statement, and that's the contrasting mindsets between Bruno Fernandes and Jose Mourinho. And I don't think there's much more to say. I don't want to over-exhaust myself. I've gone over time in the last couple of episodes, so you know, how about we end that here with that information, and hopefully you can reflect and look at yourself and figure out whether you are focusing on the step-by-step journeys and the process and the development needed to get to the desired goal for your season. All right, so all the best, and I'll be here next week on the topic, and I'm sure that it will be a good one. All the best, guys, and appreciate you listening.